make you uncomfortable on a daily, everyday life? You were seeing people and you were seeing their very dark side. Some things must have been extremely disturbing.
Well, I acted for a lot of people who'd committed murder. But
you take
you know
that
what?
home with you? I mean, it's a lot.
I used to. Maybe the first couple of murder cases, and I'll discuss it and things. But then you almost develop some kind of, barrier to it, that you have a professional life, and then you have a other life, a home life, a social life, of a mother and sort of a wife, and they don't really want to hear about your gory cases.
No.
They'll know what I learned from the cases, but I wouldn't necessarily go in and tell them the whole thing. And also, you also see the good side of human nature in possibly people who have committed crime. It doesn't mean because they've committed crime they're a bad person. You actually see the good in these people, and you see the desperation in them, that they also need to be defended. And I think I went into being a criminal defense lawyer because of this need to make a difference, to change people, to help people. It's all from coming from a position of what can I do to help this person no matter what they've done.
So what's the worst case that you've ever had?
The worst case? Well, a few, but the worst was this chap he was a servant, and he'd come from Mumbai, and he was a servant in someone's house here.
A domestic
servant, and he was abused for many years by this lady. She was a single lady.
By abuse, you mean verbal abuse?
Verbal,
or
physical, sexual.
No. Really?
So it came to a point that one day he couldn't take it anymore, and he murdered her. And not only did he do that, he then panicked. And then he went and got himself a glass of whiskey and said, now what do I do? So then he chopped her body into the head was found in North London in a river. Her arms were found in one of the dump yards. Her torso was found in a dustbin. And the police had to put everything together and find all the bits of her body again. And this chap, I must say, I defended him, but he was the most humble chap, most frightened person I've ever met. He was obviously in prison,
but
and I had to go down to see him.
How can someone who's frightened and so innocent actually go through the process of dismembering a human body?
Well, it shows how the human mind works. It's an amazing way how people react when they're in fear, or when they're, it's a different way of reacting. People sort of do something and then say, actually, that wasn't me at all. That's how the human mind works, and that's how a lot of we hear about crime every day on TV. There's always one murder, there's always, something going on, some heinous crime against children, against members of your own family. But what makes those people do it? They weren't born thinking, I'm going to be a murderer when I grow up. It's just the circumstances they find themselves in.
And he never thought of reporting this woman when he was being abused?
He couldn't, because he would have been deported. He was stuck.
And he couldn't run away either.
To where? He didn't have any money. She had her passport. And there's a lot of these, domestic workers who are mistreated. And we do a lot for them at our practice. We've had them turn up saying, well, we haven't got our passport. We are being mistreated. What do we do?
But when you were defending him, did a lot of women, and did you get a backlash? Oh my God, what are you doing?
Not at
You're
all.
defending this.
In fact, we had a lot more inquiries from people saying, we're in the same situation. If you can help him, help us before we find ourselves, behind bars for something that we don't want to have done, not to put too fine a point on it. But, people live in those kind of desperate situations. And that's what lawyers' job is, I suppose, to a large extent, is to give them a helping hand and say, well, I'll bring you out, no matter what reputation lawyers have at the end of it.
And was he acquitted?
No, he'd admitted to it. So he was convicted. It was just a question of how long was he going to get.
So also, Ritu, you're described as someone who's completely unfazed by problems. Is it fair to say you have nerves of steel?
I suppose you have to. You have to survive as a lawyer and take on everyone's problems on my shoulders.
So what's your strength?
If I crumble, what will my clients do? I have to be there for them and my friends and my family. So yes, nerves of steel.
Your colleagues do describe you as, no matter what happens, Ritu will pull through it.
Yes.
You don't let yourself go down.
No, I think I thrive on challenges.
Okay, and what would you call your biggest strength?
My family, my husband and my 2 children. Without them, there is no strength.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Ritu, we're going to take a short break and ask you some more very interesting questions.
Okay.
We'll see you shortly after the break. Welcome back. Our guest today is Ritu Sethi, and we're going to talk to her about her story to success. So Ritu, one very important question that I'm sure women want to know. It's commonly said or assumed that for a successful woman, you're either going to be divorced or you're going to have an extremely supportive husband. Do you think that assumption is true?
I think it's true.
Because there's no middle ground, is there?
There's no middle ground because no one will put up with it.
Exactly.
And why should we put up with it? You work hard, so you want to have a happy life. That's what it's all about.
So Ritu, obviously your career progressed and you've done so well. Did your husband ever feel intimidated by your success at all?
I think it's probably a question he would answer better.
Really?
I don't know. I wouldn't think so, because if I've ever said I want to do something, he has gone out of his way to make sure I can do it. So it's never been no, don't do that. It's always been a yes before a no.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
What's the secret to that? Please tell everyone.
Secret is
probably, the same
I
formula.
suppose the secret is because if he wants to do anything, such as golf, and he's just been skiing, it's been a yes from me before a no. So it's a mutually supportive relationship.
And Ritu, what, in your opinion, has been the highlight of your career?
Highlight of my career, apart from winning all the awards and going from just being a lawyer to being a businesswoman. And businesswoman is also been not just for my legal firm, but it's been for the talks I do,
of course,
my property interests as well. So it's been for all of that. It's been for the full package, and inspiration to other people. But I suppose the highlight now you're asking is probably when I have made a difference to even one person in the audience, of people who have spoken to, who've listened to me at these conferences. And then one lady they'll come up and they'll say, that was really good, it's really made a difference. And then they'll email me and I'll email them back and start mentoring them. That for me, every time has made me happy that I'm giving back. It's not all about me, it's all about what I can do now for the next generation. And now there's a program where they're asking lawyers like myself to become judges. So it's something that we're looking at maybe as being the next step, as to whether it's something that I want to do or whether I still want to carry on with the giving back to society.
So, Ritu, what do you feel is the recipe to your success? Is there a standard formula?
No standard formula. I think everyone who's successful has come their own journey. There's no, do this and this and you'll be successful. But just make sure you have a goal, so you know where you're heading to, you know where you're going, the direction of your...
But we all have goals. Some people have, I want to be a movie star.
Yeah, but
they keep a
but
goal.
There's nothing wrong in saying I want to be a movie star. How are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? Who do you need to meet? Have a strategy, have a business plan. How are you going to get there?
If you could describe in three describing words, three things a person needs.
A successful person needs passion for what they want to do. They need a clear plan to what they want to do, and they need it badly enough to do it.
So that desperation
they
needs
need
to be
to have
there.
that desperation.
Also, Ritu, what we see nowadays, a lot of qualified and educated women, also with professional education, they get married, have children, and then they tend to stay home after they've had kids and want to be a full-time mother. Do you think that perhaps they're wasting their education?
No, not at all. Hats off to them. If they can and they want to be with their children, that's what mothers do best. And they will be good mothers at it, I'm sure. There's nothing wrong in it. It's what they want in life.
But the ones who... of course, you have one set that stays home and looks after the kids.
And my younger sister is a great example of that. She's
the third
stay-at-home mum. Yeah.
Okay, and she's a full-time mom?
Yes, and she's very happy with it. And sometimes I think, good luck to you.
Good luck to you. But the ones who do go out there and work, how do you find, because you've found the right balance, your kids are doing extremely well. How do you find the right balance between being a mom and being a working mother? Do you ever achieve a balance, or is it